Hey, all, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and today I'm joined by Maddy Myer, the host of a brand new podcast, Maddy Mania. How you doing, Maddy?
I'm good, Frank. Thanks for having me.
Now, Maddy, you're first known as a publicist, and when people think of a publicist, they think of red carpets and stressful calls with clients. Can you tell us what a publicist actually is doing in Hollywood?
Yeah, so that is part of it. That is the high stress that you see in the movies, on TV, and if you're lucky enough to see them in action in person, they're usually the ones in like a black suit by all the celebrities. So that is part of the aspect of being a publicist, but also a lot of it is building this brand for your client. Whether they have a new project or something else launching, you want to get as much publicity around that as possible. And that's a combination of course, doing a premiere in person or a screening, whatever it might be, but also getting, those press junket interviews that you see, making sure that like all the talking points are ready and they're media trained and they know exactly how they want to articulate themselves and whatever project or whatever else they might be promoting. So you are basically like their image makers. You are who's
Yeah.
in charge of making sure they look good on camera and off camera sometimes, and making sure that their brand and their image stays in a positive light.
Nice. Is that something that you set out to be, a publicist, and how did you get into that?
Yeah, actually, I started as a nursing major in undergrad. I
Mhm.
thought I wanted to be a nurse. I knew I was like a pretty good communicator and I wanted to interface with people every day in my job. And like, I'm a Gemini and I didn't want to have a boring kind of desk job 24/7. I wanted something with flexibility every day. Found out sooner than later that I did not like blood. And so we had to pivot from nursing to something else that I was good at. And at the time, I was writing a sports column on like the journalism side of my university. And so I thought about journalism as a route. I thought about broadcast as well. But ultimately, public relations was like a mix of best of both worlds. Like I still get to write, I still get to interact with people, being public facing sometimes, but it offered like the most variety and I loved it. Like I immediately felt at home once I switched that major. And then I even got my graduate degree at USC in public relations and advertising. So definitely kind of since the age of 19, at least, that's when I switched. That's when I knew I wanted to be a publicist.
Yeah, yeah. Now, once you make that change and you start to do the public, what is something that you had learned afterwards that maybe people don't realize beforehand that's a real like behind the curtains move that publicists have to constantly do?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to be on edge. I feel like something
Mm,
that you think could be small could become like a major crisis. And like I said, that aspect of like having a different day every day, that's what I love about it. And then sometimes a crisis will come up and even though you like had your set plan for the day, like you have to go here, you have to pitch some clients, whatever it is, every time like some kind of crisis might come up or something more time sensitive, that becomes like the priority. So a lot of time management, and I thought I was good at time management before, but I had to get even better once I became a publicist. So that's
mhm.
probably like the biggest thing I learned.
With today's social media becoming such a part of the brand, do you feel like PR and being a publicist is shifting over to also being a social media manager? That's kind of like part of your gig now.
Yeah, definitely. Content is everything these days.
Hmm.
A lot of quote unquote press is not, your traditional press. It's doing
Right.
collabs with influencers or content creators. So definitely being able to ride with the times and know that social media is a big part of plus press plans nowadays.
You, as a younger publicist, do you have to work with other publicists that may be a little bit older and are still used to like, we got to get them on the radio? So,
Thankfully, at my agency, um, even though I have like a few bosses that are older, they understand the times and that PR and
yeah,
the media landscape is shifting. So they're not too stuck in we have to be on the radio or we have to be in this magazine, thankfully.
yeah. In this magazine, oh goodness, couldn't tell you when I picked up a paper magazine. You've worked in both the entertainment and sports spaces. What do you feel like are the difference culture-wise when you're trying to pitch clients to there?
Yeah, I would say it's actually more similar than you think. Not
Okay.
exactly the specific journalists you target, because there's always different beats that journalists or creators cover, but the aspect of I always like to say that sports is entertainment, so there's
Mhm.
still, like, that fan culture and that fandom aspect in both the sports and entertainment world where people are tuning in just because they're writing for that team or that project, so definitely think there's some overlap there.
Yeah, and then what is it like to have to deal with the fandoms at all? Do you have to deal with that on your side of the business?
Uh,
And, especially with, like, sports fandoms, I think they could get kind of riley sometimes.
so, not really, just because of, like, being more behind the scenes, the biggest kind of, like, involvement with fandom is whenever I'm kind of doing my research on who I wanna reach out to or, like, invite to an event or whatever it might be, is making sure that person is, like, genuinely a fan of the product.
Yeah.
So that's more the aspect, like, I haven't had any bad experiences where fans are, like, coming for the publicist because so and so didn't do this interview or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Thankfully, only good experiences and, like, just kind of either doing invites to them or reaching out and seeing if they'd be open to collabs or interviews, whatever it might be.
Yeah. On my side of the publicist relationship, it's a lot of emails, and I'm sure that you are constantly emailing all day long.
All day. I think I might get arthritis by the time I'm, like, 50 because my wrist
I'm sure.
aches.
I swear. I'm constantly just being like, I don't know, "Hugh Jackman, please," to the publicist all day.
That's funny. One of
Uh
my close childhood friends, she like, Wolverine is her alt. She went to Hugh's, like, one-man show thing that he did last
Oh,
year
yeah.
in New York. She went to, like, 3 of those dates, and I'm like, "Girl, that's me with Ariana Grande, so I get it."
Oh my god, yeah, after Wicked for sure. Oh, it was so good. Um, what is a piece of advice you'd give to somebody who's interested in joining that field? Because it does seem like something that you have to already be on the inside to really get a publicist job.
Yeah, definitely start early. Once I
Mhm.
kinda did that transition, like I mentioned, from nursing to PR, I was like, gotta crack down on some internships.
Yeah.
And even if it's not like directly in the exact field of PR you want to go into, because there's so many different buckets. Like I did a government, nonprofit, and a like hospitality internship before I did an entertainment one, just to kind of get like some experience under my belt. So even if that's like the route you have to go, every kind of experience is valuable because you learn from different folks that have been in the industry for longer than you, of course. And then my other like piece of advice besides getting into internships early is like work on your writing. That's
Yeah.
why I like having like some journalism or freelance one-offs every once in a while just to work on my writing, because you do a lot of writing as a publicist, even more than you imagine, even if it's like 20 emails a day, whatever it might be. So just always working on your writing craft.
That's a good point, that's really good. Now, I think with oops, sorry. I think with modern, TV, we're starting to see more of these kind of behind Hollywood shows, hacks, studios, Wonder Man, we just had Wonder Man, and
Yeah.
we're getting a little bit more of a peek at Publicists. What do you think is the most accurate adaptation of your field so far?
Ooh. By the way, love all those shows.
Yes, me too.
This this might be, like, an unpopular opinion, it might be a hot take, but I loved The Studio, and I do have
Mhm.
some folks that are like, "That's not accurate," but I think, like, out of what is out there right now, I think it might be the most accurate portrayal, at least from, like, what a studio executive would live, like, day to day, and the fact that, your press plans could totally blow up like that
Yeah.
Kool-Aid movie in in the show. Spoiler if you guys didn't see it, it's you should watch it, but, yeah, so I think that's a good depiction, like, definitely over dramatized a little bit, but
Mhm.
the actual role of, like, doing the press plan and, like, making sure all the schedules are aligned and everything else like that is what's going on.
God, it just sounds so hectic. I don't envy you on that, that's crazy. Ugh, that poor Google Calendar.
Oh, no, for real. It's funny because, like, whenever I first started in PR, I was in grad school at the same time. So I would have 3 calendars. I would have my work calendar no, I would have 4. I would have my work calendar, I would have my, like, school calendar for classes that were, like, at night. I would
Mhm.
have my personal, like, social life calendar, and then I would have my all together how to balance it all and make sure I'm not double booking myself. So, definitely, like, I say I need to work on my patience, and I do, but it's also because, like, I feel like you get pulled in so many different directions and, like, things can change on a whim, so you have to that's something I should have said earlier, like, being a publicist, you have to be adaptable and flexible for sure.
Oh, I could imagine. I could imagine. Now, what point did you decide I need my own platform to share some of my opinions and want to start Maddy Mania?
Yeah, I feel like I've been thinking about building like my own IP for a little while. Um, More seriously, I've been thinking about honestly since the age of 19, whenever I first started in PR, is that I wanted to own my own agency one day that was specifically sports and entertainment because I feel like that's my bread and butter. And
Mhm.
this is kind of like the first step to that in the 5-year plan. And that's, like, the business mindset of it, but then the, like, fun
Right.
mindset of it is that I really just wanted a platform where I could yap and talk people's ears off about things that I'm, like, super passionate about, and I feel like my mom and best friend can only hear so much before I'm like, "Dang, I'm sorry, guys, like, I'm just hyper fixated on this right now, and I can't shut up." So I wanted to be able to have, like, a platform to do that and hopefully build community of other folks that are, like, have the same kind of mindset or interest and want something to listen to and honestly build community because I think a big part of fandom is that community aspect. Like I've met some of my closest friends at like concerts or wrestling events. So, um all of that to say I think the timing is right too because like I'm in that mid-20s age where they
Mhm.
say it's like the quarter life crisis, but instead of like letting that actually happen, I was like, no, I'm gonna use it as fuel to like start something that I'm really passionate about.
It's funny that you mentioned your age. Before we pressed record, we were talking about some of the people you're going to bring on, and you're going to have a writer from Teen Wolf on, and you're like, "Oh yeah, it's
Mhm.
from my childhood." I'm like, "Oh, I love Teen Wolf, the one I remember from my childhood, the '80s version," and it's like, "That's right. There's a younger version too."
Yeah, yeah. I like whenever that show premiered, I was 11, and then I think it ended when I was 18. So it definitely was my
My
childhood.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Michael J. Fox.
I do love him. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all
Heck
time.
yeah. What a classic. What a classic. What skills as a publicist do you plan on bringing to your show?
Yeah, definitely the research aspect and industry knowledge of like how to reach out the same way that you would reach out to press wanting to interview your clients is kind of how I've been reaching out to people I want on my podcast.
Yeah.
Um, Being like as professional as possible, but also personable and like making sure that I'm not overwhelming them over email with like too much info. So that for sure. And then like also the writing aspect because I'm like writing scripts, I'm writing like interview questions that I want to ask the guests that are going to be on the podcast. So honestly, like I feel like it's prepared me a lot for launching this podcast and even like talking to you right now. I knew how to do that because I'm a publicist and I knew like
Yeah.
this would be a good kind of cross collaboration between both of our platforms.
Yeah. Now you're talking describing your podcast, you talk about it as a mix of that fan spiral and inside chat. How are you going to find that balance, and what kind of balance are you looking for?
Yeah, so I think the balance is gonna be depends on the episode how much I'm gonna be balancing, to be honest.
Hmm.
So the way it's kind of like the structure is first part of the episode is like, yeah, me kind of spiraling about whatever the topic may be, my favorite ship in Teen Wolf, whatever it is, and then also giving that like insider part of, well, this show was so famous and popular because of XYZ, and they did
Yeah.
a really great job with this campaign for Comic-Con or whatever it might be. And then, well, after that, we'll like transition into the interviews with the experts that are also in the field because they're related to that project.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. You spoke about Comic-Con. How is that making a play in the modern publicist world? Is that becoming more and more prominent?
I would say, yeah. We include our clients at Comic-Con all the years that I've
Yeah.
been at my agency. I remember again growing up, like I was big into the Arrowverse, the CW superhero
Same.
shows. And
Yeah.
yeah, they like every time they were at Comic-Con, I was like tuned in because you knew they were gonna drop the most exclusive trailer or clip or photo. They might say something that they're never gonna say anywhere else, and it's super exclusive, and I think, like, exclusivity is everything in the modern
Yeah.
publicist realm, and so Comic-Con is a really good high-profile event to kind of announce those kinds of things.
Couple things on that. First off, I got to see the entire Flash cast at Fan Expo, which was like a blast because they're all hilarious. Oh,
I met Grant after his Broadway debut for Water for Elephants. And I
oh,
met
so good.
Candace at this, like, random New York, women's Pop Sugar Fest that, like, my mom got me tickets to for my
Mm.
18th birthday. But that's it on my roster, just Candace and Grant.
God, I want the very best for that entire cast. They were just so cool. I just
Me
really want the very
too.
best for them. Stephen Amell, though, for our Arrow, he's going to be the new Baywatch lead
Rewatch,
for the Baywatch.
yes.
Yeah,
I saw
heck
that,
yeah,
I'm excited for him. Yeah, I've been following his career because after Arrow, his, like, next most prominent thing was Heels, that wrestling
heels. Yeah,
show, and I'm sad that got canceled because, like, again, same way you were like, "What's the most, like, real publicist behind the scenes kinda show?" I feel like Heels was the most real kind of wrestling show that we've seen,
oh, good.
that wasn't like a documentary style, so,
Mhm.
um, yeah, big fan of that show.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, goodness. When you're trying to choose a topic, what's making the cut for you? Is it just based off of your passion, or are you also gonna be following the trends?
Starting off, it's just gonna be based on my passion, and
Okay.
I feel like I could have years' worth of episodes just from that alone because of how many different things I've been interested in, and it doesn't even have to be like I'm 100% obsessed with it right now in this very moment because I
Mhm.
plan to have, like, a Hannah Montana episode, which that was, like, my hyperfixation at 6 years old, and now it's, like, the 20th anniversary at me being 26, and so I feel like it's just I need to do it. Even though I haven't really thought about that show in years, like, I've still followed Miley's career, but, I think different things like that, like, anything that kind of I was passionate about from, like, early on to now could be fair game.
How does passion play into your publicist side of life? Do you ever pick a client or push a client in a certain way because you know the project has some rich fans?
Yes. Um,
Great.
anytime I, like, see a project that I personally like or I think is just gonna make big waves and be kind of, like, talked about for a while, I love to
Mhm.
go after clients like that, that are attached to those projects because I know we can do really good work together, not only because I know the show, but also because I know the fandom.
We touched on social media and how that's a big part of your job as a publicist. How will you be using social media with your podcast? That's something that, as somebody who communicates with other podcasters, we're constantly talking about how to effectively use social media, and it's always a guessing game. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I started doing like a little rollout at the beginning of Feb with different like images and things like that. But the biggest thing is whenever like the interviews are fully edited, I'm gonna drop clips on there, both on Instagram and TikTok with the interviews. And then the like full video will be available on YouTube and hopefully just kind of like build a rhythm that way with clips and then every once in a while like do an Instagram live here or there, like hear from the host. Yeah, honestly need to flesh out the social media plan a little bit more
It's
post-launch.
hard.
I feel like I did a good job pre-launch and I have like every day what I'm gonna post, but after the episodes start rolling, I need to kind of lock in on what else I'm gonna do.
What we noticed on our side, when we started back in 2018 was all about looking like a brand. And
Mhm.
now it's more about being as authentic as possible. As much work I put so much work into looking like I don't put work into stuff. It's so hard. I'm just not used to it. But that seems to
I
be the
feel
thing.
you.
Uh, What is some of the dream guests you're hoping to have in the future someday?
You heard me tease it before. Absolute dream guest would be Ariana Grande. She's
Yes.
been my, like, favorite since I was 13, so pre-Wicked, like, around Victorious ending era, um, she's been one of my faves, so she would be an absolute dream guest. Also CM Punk, he is my favorite wrestler of all
Oh,
time.
he's so entertaining too.
Ugh, I love him. I've met him twice from, like, different signings at, a con and WrestleMania weekend, but, just to, like, actually have a full sit down talk with him would be really cool because, um, Maddie lore, but I'm straight edge, and, like, the main reason I am is because I, like, grew up on this man, like, being straight
Mhm.
edge and proclaiming it, so it's been, like, a really good inspiration for me, so those are my 2 dream guests for sure.
You've already got a really great lineup of guests coming up. The show's launching March 5th. Can you give us a little tease of some of the guests you got coming?
Yeah, so you guys will see one of the wrestling greats. He's great on the mic, he was great in the ring, had a great run in both WWE and TNA, EC3. We'll hear from a writer and composer behind Teen Wolf that helped develop the show's sound and style. And we'll also get to hear from one of K-pop's greatest producers, behind groups like NCT, Shiny, aespa, etc.
That is, I love the wide range. There's a little bit of something for everybody. That's so fun. So
I
make sure
wanted
you
to
guys are
knock it out
following.
that, like, first week with, like, I have a sport, I have a
Yeah,
TV/film thing, and then I have, like, a music thing, so trying to knock it out that way.
yeah, you're building a community that's into everything and wanting to learn more.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys are following all the links in the description. I want to make sure you guys are following up and subscribing to Maddy Mania immediately. To close out, do you mind if we do some lightning questions?
Let's do it.
Here we go. A fandom hill you will die on.
A fandom hill I will die on. Um Probably that Blackpink is the biggest girl group in the world,
Oh
and
wow.
there's always fights with both within K-pop and outside of K-pop that, like, so and so is gonna surpass them and whatnot, but, like, who else has gone and done solo projects for over a year, and now they're coming back together as a group and are even more popular? I would love to know.
I tell you, if you take K-pop fans and wrestling fans, they're very similar, I think.
That's true, actually, a lot of my, like, mutuals are, like, dual love both, so
Yeah. And they're all about the drama that's not on stage. What is your comfort rewatch show?
this is kind of off brand for me because I feel like this is supposed to be rapid fire. I'm sorry I'm giving like the
You're
behind
good.
the scenes, but um one of my friends recommended Gossip Girl to me in high school and I like refused because I was like, I'm a tomboy and I wouldn't like that show. It's literally called Gossip Girl, whatever. And then I like finally gave it a chance and that is my absolute comfort show. So much drama. It's funny. Everybody looks good. I feel like even though the style may be out of fashion now, like the drama and tropes from back then are very true and like Gossip Girl might not be around, but people are still acting like shady like that nowadays.
Yeah.
So Gossip Girl is definitely my comfort show and like I could just watch it in the background, whatever I'm doing.
What is that theme song that immediately puts you in a good mood?
Ooh, I don't know if you know this. I don't know how far your wrestling lore goes, but there's this guy named Joe Hendry, and
Okay.
he's in WWE now, but before he was in TNA, and um, he got on the charts from his theme song. It might have been only in the UK, not the US, but the fact that like a wrestler's theme song that wasn't like John Cena's was even
Right.
trending and like on the charts was insane. And it's basically like, I believe in Joe Hendry. And then yeah, like that's basically it, but it's so catchy. And now also most recently another wrestler, his name's Kit Wilson. They did a bit of a rebrand with him because his tag team partner is injured now. And it sounds like a Zara Larson song, to be honest. It's really catchy. So check out both of those.
I tell you, when the Maddy Mania Empire starts, you're gonna have to get a spinoff that's just wrestling. I think it's gonna do quite well.
Well, that was the reasoning behind the name initially is like a lot of people know me for my love for wrestling. So it's like Maddy Mania because WrestleMania, of course. We gotta go with that.
Of course. Yeah. Last one for you. What's the next topic you were ready to spiral towards? What's the next fandom you want to spiral towards?
Ooh, next fandom. I kinda wanna um get a little more into baseball. I'm, like, kind of into it, especially since I moved to LA, like, 4 years ago. I have gone to
Hmm.
more games in person, but I would love to get more into, like, the fandom side because I feel like I'm more of a casual fan right now.
Yeah, that is something that it's like there's a lot of teams out there. I even got local teams, but it's just I don't know. I'm such a football fan, so it's hard to watch baseball. It takes its time. It breeds. We'll
Especially
say.
basketball, yeah, basketball is my number 1
Oh
besides
yeah,
wrestling, of course, but, like, it took a while for me to get into baseball because I was like, "This is a lot slower." Um
yeah. I love basketball too, but I'm a Kings fan, so sometimes it's just hard to watch.
Uh
We keep looking back at like 2001 was the time. Oh goodness. Well, Maddie, it's been an absolute delight having you on. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody heads to the description right now, follows Maddy Mania, and we'll have the links to your socials as well so people can follow you up there. Maddie, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Frank. It was awesome. Had a really good time. Appreciate it.
Great. All right, everybody, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.